Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. We're going to be painting one of my favorite things today, butterflies. Yeah, couldn't resist. It's, I got spring fever. What can I say? Got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man in chat tonight, so if you've got questions while I'm painting, you can ask those and we'll try to answer. Let's get started. All right, so I'm going to try to go really loose with this one tonight and keep it very, very simple so it's really easy for beginners. Butterflies can be kind of complicated to paint, so I want to take all that kind of complication out and just have fun with it. We're going to maybe throw in some pencils to do some of the lines in the butterfly to make it simplified and also kind of add a mixed media element. So I've kind of pulled some whatever you've got. So it doesn't have to be any particular kind, but I've got some Caran d'Ache crayons. These are water-soluble crayons. I've got a Posca pen, and then I've got some pastel pencils, a regular Prismacolor pencils, and these are also pastel pencils. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to use. Maybe one or none or all, I don't know. But we're just going to kind of add some little final elements, touches with those mixed media elements, and it really kind of is a nice way to make it a little bit more accessible for beginners. I'll walk you through the whole step from start to finish tonight. We'll finish it hopefully in about an hour and a half or so. It's going to be pretty simple. All right, for our background, you're going to want either like a sponge or a large brush to do this kind of messy, blendy background. And then if you've got like a little dauber, paint dauber, you can grab one of those, or even a large, I showed these, whoops, well, they're not that big. Let me see if I can find the big ones. One of these big Q-tip deals. You could use those instead of this, or even a cotton ball would work. So just a large round circular object to do some of these dots and things. I'm not going to get too complicated with that, but that is a fun element. You could even use like plastic bubble wrap, stuff like that, and make patterns on your background if you want to do it that way. All right. So we're just going to, the whole theme of tonight is to have fun. Don't stress, no stress. This is going to be a fun project. We're going to be painting butterflies. What else can I say? Butterflies are one of my favorite things to paint. All right, let's go over colors. I've got carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow oxide, Indian yellow hue, cadmium yellow light, green gold, phthalo green yellow shade, cobalt teal, Phthalo blue green shade, ultramarine blue, Quinacridone Magenta, Pyrrole orange, unbleached titanium, titanium white, and some gloss glazing liquid. If you don't have these colors, just use which colors that you have. I kind of just did a rainbow of colors so that I had lots of options to play with. But like I said, you don't have to have these exact colors. If you don't have them, that's fine. As far as other paint brushes, I'm probably going to do some blending with like a large filbert of some sort. The filberts are the rounded tip ones. And then maybe have an angle brush to do some of the wings, and a fairly large one so that, we can get some gestural marks in our brush strokes. And then a smaller round. I've got several different options for round brushes in different sizes. These are going to be kind of the workhorse of, if we want to make any little paint, dots and dashes and things in our butterflies, we're going to need a round brush for that. All right, so those are our main brushes, and let's get going here. I'm going to spray my canvas, having a spray bottle of just plain water. It's really smart. This one is a continuous, so you can see how it kind of keeps going. It's a fine mist spray, so it doesn't do any big blobs on my canvas. So just spraying it a little bit to open up the pores. I'm using a Fredrix watercolor canvas board. Really any kind of canvas, any size that you want to use is going to be fine. So we're just going to play with the placement of our butterflies, so they can go any which way. We can turn it this way, that way, whatever we want to do. This one is 11 by 14. I was initially thinking about doing it on an 8 by 16, so like long and thin. So that's another option especially if you kind of do it vertical like this, it looks like they're kind of flying up off the canvas. That's really fun too, but for our purposes, since we're doing it for YouTube, it's a little easier to fill the space with this size canvas. All right, that's really the only reason I chose this size. It's just kind of a good substantial size, and it fits in the space of my camera frame. So there you go. No other special reasons. All right, so I'm gonna just go straight onto the canvas. I've sprayed it down with a little bit of water. It's soaked in there a little bit, so this will accept the paint a lot easier if we do that first. I'm not going to put too much paint on. I always put too much paint. This is titanium white, unbleached titanium. Put a little bit of that down. And then I think my main color is going to be cobalt teal. I'm not going to put my little dots down yet. I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to put in, that's probably way too much phthalo blue, but I just had some on my palette knife left over for when I was putting it on here, and that's all that was left in my tube. So it was like the end of tube, you know, it's just trying to use it up. All right, so let's see how we do here. I'm going to put on a glove because I don't want to get this all over my hands.
It's about to get messy.
Huh?
It's about to get messy.
It's about to get messy, yep. So the nice thing with the sponge is you can blend with it pretty easily. It's a really good beginner tool. And they're cheap. When I would do beginner classes, this is kind of what I would use with a lot of the class. Oh yeah, that's good. All right. So I'm going to do the white parts first. I added the phthalo blue to the white bits just so that it would blend it out a little bit. Getting the cobalt teal now. And that unbleached titanium, and just going in circular motions and really working that. I'm really kind of pushing hard to scrub that paint in and get it worked into the canvas pores. I can already tell I need more white. This is all turning out to be just like a plain blue, which is really not what I wanted. Okay, but that's good. That's a good start. And I'm going to go ahead and just flip the sponge over. Boy, I can't read. Well, I can't talk. My goodness. Can't read, walk, or talk. And I'm just going to kind of smush, tap. I'm not trying to blend this too much more than just like kind of tap it in. And maybe think about the path of my butterflies and where I want to put them. And just give this a little bit of, you know, movement so that it doesn't have to look like clouds or anything per se, but you could make them look like clouds if you wanted to. You could use your fingers if you want to use them to blend in. Lots of different ways of doing this. This is the point where you could also grab something like bubble wrap or cellophane or even a paper towel and do some texturing, that kind of thing on here. I think I'm going to leave this for now. This is good enough. It's, you know, it's got a little bit of movement. It's probably not as much as I want, but we'll let Mark dry this and then we'll put some colors on top of it and layer on top, and that will give us some dimension and a few, you know, layers in that background. Oops. All right, let me get something really quick. I'm going to get my hands clean first of all because I'm going to be touching some stuff and I want to get paint on it. How I got paint on this hand, I guess I was touching the canvas edge. I should have put gloves on both hands. So I'll get another glove out for part 2 here. Okay, there we go. Let me show you. We're going to be doing a, I don't want to say the G word, but we're doing a giveaway. Shh, don't tell, don't tell the algorithm. They don't like that. But we're doing one Princeton brush, and Princeton, Strathmore, Dollaroni, and My Mary are all owned by one mega corporation. And they sent me some really, really awesome goodies. So let me get them really quick and show you. And also Fredrix. So Fredrix canvas. Fredrix is our canvas sponsor. They sent me 2 cases of these 12 by 12 inch. They're really nice, smooth. These are the good ones. So I have 2 cases to send to give to winners, prize winners. You get to choose between the case of canvases or this art haul goodie basket with all of this Strathmore. So you get these 2, the Daler-Rowney acrylic set, a gouache set, catalyst blade of different sizes, and some different brushes here from Princeton. So some Velvet Touch ones. Anyhow, there's a link down in the description. The way we're doing it is you'll enter your email address, and that way I've got a way to contact you, because doing this through YouTube, I don't have anybody's email address. So when you win, it's hard to get in touch. So that way we can track down the winners easily. And there'll be a code word. So today's code word for this week, we'll be giving away 2 of those prize packs. You can choose between the canvases. There'll be 2 winners. So you can choose between the Fredrix canvases or that art haul when you win. And you can just let me know in the email. And next week we'll do this again and have a new code word. So this week's code word for the 2 winners for this week is Thankful Butterfly. 1 word all together. You can capitalize, not, it doesn't really matter. It's just going to enter you. If you enter that in with your name and email address, then, thank you. You'll get a confirmation email, and make sure you click on that to confirm that you entered and that your email address is correct and it's yours. And then, yeah, you'll be entered in this week's prize thing. I'm not going to say the G word because
really, our code word should have been quesadilla.
it should have been quesadilla.
Burnt quesadilla, all one word. No.
I didn't burn it this time.
I know. I'm proud of you.
Very good. I've been doing good. I have not burned a quesadilla in a while. That's leftover. I've got one little measly one left. I couldn't do it. Couldn't get through the whole thing, but I got close. All right. So here we're going to glove up again, and I think I'm putting this on inside out.
Okay, I'm going
to probably get paint on my hand.
I'm going to get a pack of googly eyes.
Let me see.
So I can put them on your gloves.
Let me make sure. I don't know. I think I took this inside out when I took it off. Let me see if there's paint on here. Okay, let's just get a new glove. How's that?
Sounds good.
Wasting time. There we go. And if I can get my fingers. Seriously.
The struggle is real.
Don't you love live streams? Okay, here we go. So I'm going to grab this dauber again. It's still got paint in it, but hopefully not too much. We'll see how it does. And let's go ahead and start putting in yellow and different other colors. So I'm going to get some of that Indian yellow hue and some white. It doesn't look like it's mixing, like, putting it on my thing here. If it was going to mix, it would do it already. So I'm just going to kind of dust this. And this time I'm going to go kind of lighter and just sort of, this makes it super easy because you can see it's kind of just blending it on its own. We're not having any rough, hard edges with this, which is great. Let's get some green gold. That's a really pretty color. It's a little bit yellowy, maybe a little bit more of that cobalt teal. Ooh, got a little bit of that phthalo blue. Maybe we'll do like a corner of that and some green gold over here. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to do kind of warm, coolish colors, or like more blue tones, blue and green tones in this background. And then in the butterflies, I'm going to do kind of warmer tones like oranges and yellows and things. So I don't want to do too much with this background. It doesn't have to be super detailed, but something that green's a little bit much, isn't it? I don't really love that. So let's switch to a brush, and let's see what happens if we get a brush involved. May go, who knows? We'll see. I don't know. We may or may not like it. This brush may be a little bit too big, but we'll see what happens. So I got mostly unbleached titanium and a little bit of the cobalt teal. So I want a lighter color, and I'm just going to kind of go over some of that green area and just soften it off. You can also use a color called zinc white if you have it. Zinc white's a great color to like paint over the top. I use it in clouds a lot because it's a transparent white, so it's not going to like cover. You're going to be able to see through it to the color underneath. So it's a great way to like soften the color without painting over it totally. Yeah, that looks good. Let's do some teal. I'm feeling some teal. So I'm going to get some phthalo green and phthalo blue. That'll make a really pretty teal. It's close to cobalt teal, but it may be just a little bit more intense. And if we want to knock down the saturation, we can add a little bit of burnt sienna. That will just make it a little bit more of a more neutral teal. Okay, that's better. I like that. So it's green, but not too green. I want this background to stay kind of, like I said, blue, teal, in that range. Not too much yellow in it because we're going to put the yellow in our butterflies. So we just want something to kind of play off. And just kind of doing a mismatch of different brush strokes. And you can let your brush strokes show if you want. You can blend them out if you want. This is your painting. You do you. If it's starting to get sticky, just let it dry and do another layer. That's really all. The only way to go wrong with acrylics pretty much is just to mess with them while they're trying to dry. It's like me in the mornings, you just don't want to mess with it until it's like, I don't know.
Don't I know? Lessons learned.
They're grumpy right now, so you gotta just leave them be until they dry, and then or have some tea, some caffeine. It takes me about an hour to boot up in the mornings, and then I'm good to go. So, thankfully, our painting doesn't take that long. All right, that's pretty. Looks kind of dreamy, and I was having trouble right here to get it to stick because it was still wet. So I'm going to give this to Mark one more time. He's going to have to dry it one more time.
Double dry?
Yep, double dry. And I'm going to give you these two also. Here, I'll give you that on a paper towel. And just come back and rinse them off. Thank you. All right, I'm going to leave my gloves on because I know I'm going to need them again. All right. So going back to that code, there is a link down in the description of this video is where you go to enter. So don't put it in the comments of the video. We're not going to see it there. So you have to go to the link. It's in the description of the video. If you go below this video and click on the little arrow, it'll drop down, or sometimes it'll like have a sentence. It'll say, learn to paint with Angela Anderson. And then it'll say see more, or like have a little 3 dots, and just click that. And it'll drop down, and then you'll see the rest of the description. It's got links for all my social media, where to buy paints. Right now, canvases are on sale at Blick. This is the time of year where I always would buy, because they do these sales a couple of times a year, where they have like ridiculously low prices, like 90% off if you buy 5 or more. Sometimes you have to buy 10 to get the really good price, but anyhow, then I would be set for canvases for the rest of the year, or for most of the year. So they have their brand of canvases are called Premier, Blick Premier. That's the ones that I like, and the kind that I like are the splined back ones. So anyhow, there's a link down in the description if you want to go to my list, and they're in the list toward the bottom. You can see my recommended ones. So anywho, what else? So the giveaway. I think I'm gonna maybe try to demonstrate how to use this catalyst blade today too. Maybe, I don't know if I'll get the opportunity, but we'll see. All right, so here we go. So let's go ahead and add our little dots of light that we see in the background. This is where I was thinking that we might use our blade. This is the one that's in the giveaway prize pack. I took one out, so there's one missing. I'll put something else in. One of the prize packs is going to have different stuff in it on the last day. So, but I'll put something else good in here. I just wanted to have one to demonstrate how to use it. So the nice thing about these is that you can use them to kind of push the paint around in ways that you can't really get you can do it sort of with the palette knife, but because it's like this silicone, it kind of grabs onto the canvas a little bit differently. So I'm just going to get a little bit of this stuff that we had over here, just some leftover. I'm not going to put too much on here. We'll just see what this does. And I'm just going to gently kind of push it around. And I'm going to start off the canvas so that I don't get a big line. Okay, there we go. See how it... Let me get a little bit more. It's not wanting to show up here. I'm using kind of the lighter colors though, because I've got darker colors back here. So this will just kind of be a subtle texture in the background. Isn't that pretty? I'm getting a little bit of a line here where I started or stopped it, but I don't hate it. If you don't want these like lines, then you can, like I said, kind of start off the canvas and then run. There we go. Getting some, it's just got this broken line quality. I can also use the thinner side if I want to be a little bit more strategic about where I put them. If you do like things like a wood fence or something like that, this is a great texture to use. I did something using the catalyst blades maybe 2 years ago when I did Rocky Seashore, and we did the ocean with the longer tools. If I can find them, I don't know where they are. These ones here, you can even tell which one I used because I used this blade here, and I scraped it across, and you can still see the gel medium stuck to it from when I did that. So these kind of silicone blades are great, and I'm really excited about trying this out on some other things in future. I'm just seeing kind of what I can come up with. But you can see that kind of broken texture. You can't really get that with the brush. You kind of have to have like that flat surface, and the palette knife goes on a little bit differently than that. It's just got its own unique kind of qualities. So I'm going to kind of wipe that off a little bit and then go ahead and grab my paint dauber, and we'll just get that wet a little bit. Whenever you're using these kind of spongy things, you need to get them damp, but they shouldn't be wet, because if they're wet, they're just going to pool and puddle color on your canvas. You definitely don't want puddles of goo on your canvas. I'm going to get some yellow, Indian yellow and white here, and I'm just going to start with that and just sort of do maybe a little bit more yellow. Don't want too much paint, but I want to be able to get a nice circle. Just set it down and kind of twist it in place. It should come off on my canvas. That's kind of dark, so I'm going to get some glaze and just kind of blur it out a little bit. Maybe use my finger. Oh, that's better. Yeah, see how that kind of smoked out the edges? I'm just going to use my finger and do it that way. That glaze made it kind of watery.
So are those blade things in your store?
I don't think they are, actually.
Okay.
I may have need to add them to the blick list. I'll do that after the show.
Okay. And what
With
were
somebody
they?
asking about it.
Oh, and what were they called again? Make sure I got the name right.
The Catalyst blade.
Catalyst blade. Cool.
And they are, what size blade that? There's different ones. I have another one that is like this. It's got like teeth marks on it. That one's a W4. This one's a W1.
Yeah, so if you use Angela's link down below the video, and you can go to Amazon or Blick, and then you can look up Catalyst blade, and there's a whole bunch of them in there.
In my
Well, I didn't search
shop.
through your whole thing, but once they use a link to go to Amazon, if they search for it,
right.
then it'll also support
Yeah,
your
that'll
channel
be-
that way.
Yep. All right, got a little bit of magenta and added it to the yellow so that it's got, and added the rest of that unbleached titanium too. So I'm going to do that. And kind of overlap some of them. Some of them put in their own spots. I mean, really, you can do as much or as little with this as you want. I don't want mine too fussy. I kind of want the butterflies to be the star. I had to pick a background, so whoops. Where's my phone?
Somebody didn't mute
My
their
son
phone.
is calling me. He knows we're
Which one?
Spencer.
I sent him a text earlier. Told him we weren't doing anything for dinner.
Well, he just forgot that I've been doing this for the last 10 years. So on
Oh,
Tuesday
too late.
nights, he must not remember what night it is. Text him.
I will tell him. Kids these days.
I know. He's what, 20 something? 22. Yeah. He's old enough for me to block or, ignore. I can guarantee you he's calling about dinner.
I sent him a text
Good.
before dinner and told him we had no plans for dinner.
Okay. Well,
And he responded and said, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, so if he's calling you, I'll be upset. He doesn't
Oh, it's
believe
fine.
me.
It's fine.
No, he should trust his dad.
He's probably, you know what he's probably doing? He's probably picking up something somewhere and he's calling to see if we want any.
Sees if you want something.
Yeah, because he likes me like that.
Oh, so I noticed he didn't call me. Oh, that child.
He and I have this thing where we actually, if one of us are getting food, we call the other one and
All right,
we're like,
I'm going to go change the locks. Hold on. I'll be right back.
all right, there we go. And then I added yellow oxide to this too. So yellow oxide, burnt Indian yellow, white, yellow oxide, and the Quinacridone Magenta. So those are kind of the colors that I've been using back here. Really use whatever colors you like, just as long as they kind of mix well with one another, because they're going to get all kind of blendy on your thing here. And then let's go ahead and get some white and do a few more white dots. And I'm kind of going over some of these textured areas too, that'll kind of soften those off and make them look a little bit better. Just make them, I don't know, just kind of fit in a little bit.
So the thing that you're using right now is a dauber?
Yeah, it's a paint dauber.
Paint dauber.
I don't, it's an Americana accessory pouncer.
Ooh, pouncer. Ooh.
1 1/8 inch, and this is 1 inch on this side. So this side that I'm using is 1 1/8 inch.
Pouncer.
Do some off the edge. The idea is just to kind of hold it in place. Don't move it too much. Then you get this. Then you'll get a perfect circle. You can kind of just do it like it says and pounce it, but I find that gives me kind of a weird texture. I don't like it as well as if I just kind of spin it in place. But really, do you, whatever you like, whatever looks good to you. I'm going to get some more of this orangey color here and kind of go over some of these ones with a little bit of a brighter orange.
You were right. He wants to know if you want anything from that chicken place
Chicken place? Which chicken place?
where they make fillets.
Oh, yeah. I see.
Do you do a dinner order?
I'm good.
Okay.
I had that quesadilla. Thank you. All right, so I'm kind of ending up with a lot of dots here. I said I wasn't going to do a lot. Now I am. I am doing a lot. But I can't help it. They're kind of fun. All right, I'm going to do the smaller side, and I'm going to get some of the Cobalt Teal and some white and do just a few. Whoops, it ended up with Yellow Blue, which I was not intending, but that's all right. White, I'll get a little bit of green and it'll turn it teal. There we go. Okay, and then let's do some with that. And I think the key is just to kind of overlap and try to keep it no pattern, you know, like keep less of a pattern, just more random. Okay. All right, that looks all right. And I think I'm going to, well, I'll splatter, but I'll probably wait to the end to splatter. So we'll go ahead and call that good enough for our bokeh for now. We can always add more later. And hopefully this isn't too dark. It's turned out to be pretty green, which was not my original intention. One thing that we can do is have poor Mark, dry this again for us. It's like, really?
Sure. I can do
You don't mind? Okay.
get my
One more
steps in.
time, dry it. I'm going to put out some more paints anyways and
All right.
clean off my palette because it's a mess. So it'll take me a minute to do that. Put out some more of the Unbleached Titanium and some more of my Cobalt Teal because I added both of those. I don't know that I need a lot more of this, but it'll just be good to have it just in case. And I'll go ahead and take these off now. I won't need them anymore. And I don't generally, when I have stuff like this, I don't usually put it in my water thing because then it just becomes all wet and gross. But I do like let it soak up, especially like a sponge, let it soak up a lot of water and then just kind of set it over on a damp paper towel until I can clean it off. If you have time, clean it off immediately, and then that way it won't get crunchy because that paint will dry in there and get crunchy. But I don't, they're so cheap, I don't usually worry about them too much. Probably should, but I don't. All right. Yes, I was going to spray my canvas here. Just spray my palette down. I'm going to get a clean spot on my towel and scrape off all of this good stuff here that we don't need now. And I don't really know why I put a clean spot on the towel here, just to wipe it and make it dirty again, but that's all right. This is a glass palette, and I get questions about it a lot. It's in my Amazon shop and in my Blick one, I think, too. It's called Posh is the brand. Posh. And this one is actually pretty big. It comes all the way out to here, but I only use like about 9 by 12 size of it. And I think it's like 12 by 16 maybe is this size. So very big area to work with. And bigger than I need really, or really can use for the videos at least. But it's really nice. Somebody sent it to me and the name escapes me right now. But anyhow, very nice. Really, really like it a lot. Okay, very good. There we go.
Hey,
All right. So
did you order your paint drying as a combo or a la carte? Because there's a discount if you do a combo.
what is the combo?
I don't know, it'd be like 4 more dries, so you got 1 more drying.
Before
or I need a
charged.
punch card.
Are you unionizing on me?
I
Is
think
that what
so.
you're doing? Okay. Are you? As long as you don't go on strike, I'm good. All right, I'm gonna just use some white here. I don't have any titanium or zinc white out, but if you've got zinc white, you can use that. I'm just going to smush with my clean thing, sponge, and just go over these and kind of smush them out, soften it up. You can see I haven't done this side, I did that side. Just kind of smush it out, kind of blend them together. You can do darker if you want. This is basically glazing. We've added my glazing medium's gone, so if, you can use water if you don't have glazing medium, that's fine. But I'm just going to dab and blend over this and soften it off so that it's not so dark, and it's adding a little texture here and there too. It also kind of helps to just homogenize everything a little bit, make it a little kind of all look like it goes together. Yeah, that looks good. And then, if you want that bright pink, you can add some of that bright pink. That just happened to be in the reference photo that I was using. But other thing I think I might do is just take a little bit of burnt sienna with some of I'm going to put out some more glaze. And all the glaze does is help the paint to adhere to the canvas better when you thin it out like this. So you can use water. Water will thin it out just the same, but the glaze helps it adhere better to your canvas. Okay, so I'm going to use that. That's going to change the whole tone of it. It's going to make it a little bit more like moody and a little bit more neutralized and not so bubblegum bright, It's like it got a little bit too pretty, a little too, I don't know. Our butterflies are going to be bright and colorful, so don't want the background to be too much of a star. I'm going to get some more white. You just keep on going here with this until you like what you see. And if you don't like it, walk away. If you start getting frustrated and it just doesn't look like you want it to, walk away, come back in a couple hours after you have coffee. Sometimes it's not as bad as you think, and you kind of get fixated on, like, I got to fix that little bit. Well, just, let it set. You can put a butterfly over it. Don't stress over this stage because, it can look weird or ugly for a little while. And honestly, our background can look weird or ugly. And it's finished stage. It doesn't have to be perfect. There is no such thing as, perfect with art. You just have to kind of go with it. Go with it and have fun. If you go to a museum sometime, see what's going on in some of the art, and you will realize that there is a lot of different styles out there and a lot of different forms of beauty, and you have your own unique style that's going to be just your own, and it may not be what, like mine, and that's okay. So don't try to make yours look like mine. That's not the goal. The goal is just to kind of express yourself and have fun doing it and learn a little bit, and help maybe make a fewer mistakes along the way in your journey. So that's it. And by mistakes, I just mean, roadblocks to what you want to do with your art.
More drying?
I'm just trying to see that that thin layer is going to dry pretty fast, so I'm just going to do like this and hope for the best. Okay, that's good enough. I'm just going to use the chalk here at first anyways. And all right, so I think I like the configuration of the butterflies sort of going up in this direction. If you want it to be a painting that goes in either direction, then you may want to have some butterflies going in different directions so that you can turn it either way. I think I'm going to have mine going this way though, kind of like in this picture here. So just kind of mark out sort of generally where you want your smaller butterfly to go. I'm going to have them getting slightly smaller too as they go up this way, and then that way it looks like they're kind of going away from us too. Gives it a little bit of movement. I don't know. And I'm really honestly going to, oh, thank you. I didn't notice what you were doing there. I'm going to use school chalk to draw them. If you want to, you can use your chalk pastels. You can use your watercolor pencils if you want. The nice thing about like a watercolor pencil at this stage, let's go ahead and use one to just do one, and I'll show you what happens. You can, when you, here I'll use the Sicilian yellow, or just kind of a yellowish one. So maybe we'll put one kind of coming up this way. Oops, it's not one to stick. This is too wet. I was going to show you that. This has to dry a little bit more before you could use a pencil like that. What?
Need more fan?
No, it's fine. I'm going to leave it. Okay. That's fine. I'm going to do butterfly come in here. So this one here, you're going to see like a little bit of a wing there, triangle. Butterfly anatomy. Just go over that really quick in our notebook. There we go. Because I'm going to be doing these very gestural brush stroke, or marks to draw my butterfly. So I'm just going to get a charcoal pencil here. So we're going to have, for our butterflies, we're going to have a main body that consists of a head, like a thorax that's sort of triangular usually, and then like a tail section that is usually roughly like this. Now this is from flat on, right? The wings are always attached to this middle section. So both wings are going to be attached here. And the head is usually like that. And then they'll have like a little bit that comes off here where the antennae come. Okay, so the wings are going to be here, and usually there'll be upper wings, lower wings, and there's the split right there, right? Let's zoom in, honey, so they can see what's going on here. And these lower wings, I kind of had them coming out that way, but really they kind of come straight down. So they'll come straight down from there, and then they'll either curve in, or sometimes they'll have like a tail. So we've got a swallowtail will kind of curve out and have these, areas that come down. And then this is the split here, remember? So this is the bottom wing. Come out, and however wide, different shaped butterflies do different things. But basically they kind of just curve back to this point, whether you have that or not, right? So you've got this rounded area here, here, and here, and then a lot of times you'll have like a layer of color that comes through here with some dots and things along the edges of the wings. You'll have some splitting happening here that usually kind of goes something like that, and then these little marks come down like this. Like that. Okay, so there's our butterfly. Basic, very, very simple form, but they're all pretty much like this. I've painted literally hundreds of butterflies, and they're all pretty much like this, all the anatomy. Okay, so then we've got the upper wings. They've got these veins that kind of go right up next to the outer border. So you'll have a line here and then another line here usually. And then depending on, you know, the shape, again, some of them come way out here. Some of them are really round. Some of them are squared off. But generally, it's going to do a line from the bottom corner kind of rounded out. So however far out you come with this is usually sort of where they go like that. All right. And they kind of come to a point up here usually. So they'll usually kind of, and again, some of them are a little bit more rounded than others, but basically like this. And then these top and bottom wings usually overlap a little bit. So a little bit of it's hidden by the bottom or the top of it, you know, depending on, I think usually the bottom is underneath the top. I can't remember. It depends on the butterfly, I think, and how they're flying, but basically they overlap just a little bit right here. All right, and then they do the same. There's kind of a vein that kind of splits the middle here and then connects up this way. And usually there's spots along this line. So there's usually like, you know, spots here and here somewhere. And then you just have these radiating lines out from there coming down. So usually like this. And then sometimes there'll be like little boxes in here, but basically they just kind of usually divide in pretty even marks out from the wings like that. And then you've got spots and things that happen in here. All of them have unique different details, dots, spots. You know, some of them will have like an eye-looking thing in here or something like that, you know, to put off predators. Different dots and things, but that's your basic front-on view of a butterfly. And then this part kind of usually has some, like, you know, stripy bits and things like that. So I usually just kind of finish it off that way. And so there's our butterfly basic. I don't even know what this is. This is not a real butterfly. I'm just kind of doing it from memory. So from the side, we're going to have a little bit different anatomy. We're seeing the chest area, so it's like a little bit more like a triangle for this portion, and then the head does kind of another triangle, smaller, and then the antenna come off there, and then the tail section here kind of curves forward just a little bit, like that. Usually, maybe not that thick, but you know, you get the idea. And then you'll see the like little marks and things. And this is where the arms come out too. And sometimes you'll even see like a, you know, if they're feeding, you'll see like a little circle here for their tongue coming out. But the feet will come out here, and I think there's what, 8? Is there 8 on? I think their insects have 8, right? 8 legs. I'm not sure. But anyhow, usually they have them pretty tucked close to their body, so you may just see like a little, you know, small indication. And in ours, we may not even put them in there. And then again, here, the wings come from here in this section, right? Top and bottom, and split in the middle right here. It's amazing. It's really crazy that all the weight is coming from here, but it is. Again, coming down from that spot and out, and whatever, you know, shape we want to do, and back in for that. And then our top wing curving back, rounded out, generally the same shape there. All right, maybe we'll give it a tail on this side too, so we can see what it looks like from this side. So the tail kind of comes back this way, follows the line.
So if you're taking a test on butterflies tomorrow, make sure you answer the question, how many legs does a butterfly have? The answer is 6.
6. Okay, there we go.
If you put 8,
You'd be wrong.
You tell them that Angela told me that. Not Mark, it was Angela.
Second wing here, just thinking about where we might see it, and there, it'll be a little smaller too. So there we go. All right, so there's our 2 kind of basic shapes, and that's what we're going to repeat on our thing. And we may do them slightly different, but that gives us an idea of sort of how to draw a butterfly. And also, if you're doing it and you want it perfectly symmetrical, draw half of your butterfly, draw half, trace it, flip your seam it right down the middle of the body, flip it over, and draw the other half on the other side of the tracing paper, open it up, and you'll have both halves. And you'll be perfectly symmetrical. I'm not that worried about it, but, you know. There. Thank you. All right, so there's one. Let's do one here that's maybe just open. Maybe a little bit different shape. I don't know. Maybe there. I like this one that's kind of got more of both wings showing. Like that. Then we'll do one maybe coming off in a different direction over here, and then leave room for a big one right here. Do a big swallowtail or a monarch or something. So maybe we'll do it this way. And again, I'm not going to get too fussy with this. I don't want it to be perfect. In fact, I want kind of the gestural of them in flight, so maybe I might blur them out just slightly, and maybe, you know, when I outline them, be a little bit messy with it. I don't know. I just want to go a little bit looser with the style with these. If you want to look up the artist that I kind of got this idea to do this from, his name is Odilon Redon, and he's got a, I'm probably really butchering that because it's French, so it's probably Redon or something like, or Rideau, who knows. Anyhow, sorry to our French speaking folks, they're probably like cringing right now. It's probably like saying tacos and quesadillas. Sorry. So anyhow, he has a painting called An Evocation of Butterflies. It's like oranges and things, but the butterflies are very like really randomly done, very, very loose. And I just thought it was really beautiful, and it just gave me the idea that I thought it would be really fun to just do one that way, that was like a no stress painting, you know, like a really simplified, really just gestural. And I'm going to use this 4 round here. This is the Princeton Aspen, so it's got a little bit of a weight to it, and I'm just going to really smush in my butterfly shape, literally just like that, not doing a whole lot to it. All right, let's do another one here that's yellow. Just following, look at my picture, follow the basic lines, but not, I mean, I'm gonna do one with my Patreon folks later on the end of this month, once we finish our Animals of Australia. That's the $15 level on Patreon. We do a challenge painting all month long on Thursdays, every Thursday, and we work on it. It's definitely advanced lesson, so we do you know, more advanced subjects and take our time with it and work through it. So this is week 8, I think. So we've got at least one more week to finish it up. But once we're finished with this, we're going to be doing a detailed butterfly study, like a collection with shadows that look like a big shadow box. We're doing it on a large canvas. So if you want the realistic butterflies, you can tune in for that if you're interested. This one is not that. This one's the simplified version for beginners. So we're just going a little looser, a little bit more stylized, and just having fun with it. And I think that's an easier way for beginners to learn than to have to like be worried about, you know, getting it just so. All right, so I'm getting a little bit of black here. I haven't cleaned out my brush or anything, and I'm just going to kind of pull from the edge and blend in my black. Whoop, got that a little bit out of the line. That's all right. Leave it kind of sketchy, maybe to a thin, just the hint. And I'm really trying to keep it from getting too detailed. So I'm kind of going back in with my yellow here and blurring out the yellow and black. I'll come back in with my pencil and add any details that I want to add that are, you know, more like lines and things, but I can add some of my stripy bits, very loose, holding my pen or my brush a little bit farther back. Now, if you're a beginner, it may be, you know, a little bit more scary to paint this way. So you kind of have to just trust your instincts and go with your own natural style. You may end up putting a lot of paint down and, you know, have a little bit thicker application. That's fine too. You do, you know, you express your butterflies however you want to, and don't worry about the you know, the look of them having to look like anything in particular, or like mine especially, right? All right, let's get some cobalt teal and some of that black. I'm gonna make it's picking up a little bit this yellow too, because we're kind of in the same puddle. That's fine. I'll pick up a darkish color here, and I'm gonna do, did I add a butterfly? I don't know what I did here. I definitely don't have them in the same places as there. I think I moved my orange one up here, but that's okay. So I'm putting this one here, and I'm just going to, this isn't quite the color that I wanted, but that's okay. It is what's happening, so there we go. And literally some of his butterflies in his pictures are just that, like that's it. You know, there's just kind of like a little bit of an outline that's sort of barely peeking out from the background. So I'm going to get a little bit of white here, and I'm just going to kind of do my little stripy bits. And I think when you're painting like this, it's just getting the essence of it and leaving it alone. That's the idea. So just kind of put a little color down and let it set. And you know, you might go back and add something else, but I think I'm going to leave that one just like that and maybe add some lines. And that's it. Like, not, I don't want to overdo. I really like the way that feels and looks, so I'm not going to fuss over it. And I'm just going to let it be a very like loose and very, very light. It's actually close to the background color. If you get it close to the background, the closer to your background color in value or color that you get, the more it'll blend into the background and look a little softer and blendy. So let's go ahead and use this same color in this one over here that we started earlier. And my yellow already dried. I wish my yellow was still wet. I wish I'd done this while that yellow was wet, because then I'd get a little bit more of a blend as we did with that one, which was nice. And in fact, I'm going to probably go back in. I'm going to get some cadmium yellow light. That'll give me a little bit brighter pop of yellow. And dab that back over just a little bit, and then grab that green gray that was that cobalt teal with the black, and just put in my little details on this butterfly, and keeping it very light. This one is kind of foreshortened because it's sort of facing us a little bit more, so it's not completely straight on to us. So this wing's a little bit smaller, but you can do them the same size if you want, whatever you like. Okay, so there we go. And that one's going to be, again, pretty simplified, and I think pretty close to the way I'm going to leave it. I'm going to get some yellow and just dab in a few little bit of yellow on that one. And then I'm going to wipe this out because I've got some of that green that is influencing it. I don't want it super green, just want yellow. I'm going to get yellow, and I'm going to go back in here and add some hints of, if you just do like a different color in here, and you see how we're creating negative space by doing our lines and leaving that dark color in between there, and it's creating the tiles, or the, you know, the panes of the butterfly wings just by doing that way. You see that? So that darker color is showing through, and we just did these little stripy bits with the same color but just a little bit lighter in value, and now it looks like we've got stripes there. Okay, so a little trick, less work, more payoff, you know. Plus it looks very blendy and soft that way too, because we didn't go in and put hard lines, right? Getting some white and mix in a little bit lighter color too, and I'm just going to dab in some little, just using the tip of the brush here, just little dabs of color along there, give it a little bit of detail. This butterfly is, you know, sort of our biggest one, so we'll give it a little bit more detail than any of the other ones, and then maybe give it a couple little stripies on the body, whatever we want to do there. Okay, that looks good. See how we're keeping him very soft, and the way we're keeping him soft is just by blending them, you know, as we go, and using colors that are very close to each other as we, like, I'm not cleaning out my brush, so as I'm painting the next layer, that under layer is still a little bit wet, and it's blending with it as I add my colors. I'm going to use some of this soft yellow on this one. Okay, that's good. All right, so let's do this kind of orangey color one. It's got a little bit more of like the Indian yellow hue gold, and kind of a reddish color up in this area. So I'm just going to sort of start it here. The body is pretty hidden from us. I'm going to get this gray and use that. So it's kind of right in here, but it's sort of not super visible. Wipe that out. Get more of that Indian yellow hue. I don't know why I drew it that way. It's coming up like that. Okay. Trying to get those wings a little bit different color, but that's all right if they're the same right now. I'm going to get some white. I'm going to put the white on this one just to make it a little bit lighter. Right, and then let's get some of that Pyrrole orange with my Indian yellow, and that looks too saturated. You see how bright that is? So to desaturate it, I can use some of my neutrals. This burnt umber, burnt sienna, or yellow oxide will neutralize your colors for you. And I like to use these to do that, to just kind of bring them down to a more natural reddish orange. That looks good. And I'm going to add a little bit of water. That my paint's getting a little thick. Let me spray my palette. That'll help. And yeah, there we go. So now we've got a nice orange. It's not too bright. And just going to dab it on and kind of pull it down over the top of that yellow. The yellow is mostly dry at this point, so it's sort of dry brushing over it even, which is nice. Okay, I'm going to get some of that original Indian Yellow Hue again, and then just kind of add a little bit more of that down here where the two colors meet. Look at how pretty that is. Looks like a little pop of sunshine. Okay. Oop, got a hair, sorry. Get that out of there. Getting my black, and I'm just going to dab it along my wings.
Got a color question.
Okay.
They would like to know if there's a big difference between yellow ochre and yellow oxide.
No, there's not. You can use them interchangeably pretty much. Yellow oxide's maybe a little bit less saturated than the yellow ochre. Yellow ochre's got a little bit more of a natural, like yellowish tone, I feel like. But they're yellow oxide is kind of a synthetic substitute for yellow ochre. So it's just a synthetic version of it that was created. Okay, dabbing that on, getting some white now. I'll show you here in a second the comparison, but I want to do this while this is wet, so I'm going to do this real quick, and then I'll grab my dab, 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 a little bit of white. Dab, dab, dab. Again, I'm trying not to get too fussy. I'm sort of approaching too much with this one because I'm having fun. So I tend to go detailed. This is hard for me to paint this way, but it's a good exercise because I like loose painting. Loose painting, you have to be economical with your brush strokes, so less is more. Okay, so here is my color chart. If you want this color chart, if you want to download it, you can become a free patron. I just posted it on my Patreon for free patrons. So you just sign up there at patreon.com and /Angela Fine Art. If there's a little thing, if you want to pop that up. Fun. Mark, patreon.com link.
The Thankful Art one?
There it is. There it is. So go there, sign up as a free member. If you're already a member, it's already posted, so you can get it. But you can download this and make your own chart too. It's got the blank template and also this colored template too. But there's the yellow ochre and the yellow oxide next to each other. You can see the yellow ochre just slightly more saturated. So. Okay, I'm liking how this is turning out, and I'm really going to keep it, I think, fairly close to how it's looking right now. I'm trying not to go too far with it. I'm going to get a little bit of burnt umber and dab that on my little, ooh, that's bright, isn't it? I put it in a couple of places so that it's not so, the only place that it has that. Let's put it in a couple places on here. When you introduce a new color, it's good to add it in a couple places. It just kind of helps it sort of look like it's meant to be there, you know. All right, there we go. Let's keep going here. So I think I'm going to do trying to decide if I want to do a blue morpho that's kind of a teal color over here instead of that orangey speckle. I've moved these all around, so these are not where they are in the reference photo. Apologize. Just kind of took some liberties with that when I was putting them on here. So I'm going to get a little bit more saturated color. So I'm going to get the magenta and a little bit of the Pyrrole orange and some of the burnt sienna, and then I'll kind of tone it down, make it look a little bit more natural. And I'm going to try to do a flying version of this peacock butterfly, or I'm not sure if it's a moth or a butterfly, but it's got kind of a squared off wing.
Hey, real quick. Which brush is that?
This is the 4-round, and it's actually been working pretty good. So I was thinking I might use the Filbert for doing this, but I'm liking what this is doing. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know, just use what's working.
And how well does it hold up over time? Is it a good brush?
Yeah, it for sure is a good brush. I like the Aspen. The Aspen are great for this kind of more intuitive type painting, the Impressionist style painting, if you like that, if you want to do that, because they really can push the heavy body acrylics around really much more easily than a softer brush. They're like a synthetic hog bristle brush is what I liken them to, and they work great. I like them a lot. All right, I'm kind of leaving that blue space open. I'm going to get the Phthalo blue. Go ahead and sort of put those dots in. And there's sort of a half moon one here and here. And then wet that out, get some of the unbleached titanium. And kind of finish off the markings now. This is a complicated butterfly to do, so I don't know if this is a great one to do in this style because, you know, you're having to work in so many colors and things. So it can be trickier to get it looking kind of loose. But just do your best. If all else fails, just paint the whole thing red and call it good, you know? Like, it doesn't have to be this kind of butterfly exactly. All right, that looks good. Good enough. Let's get a little bit of our black and mix it a little bit with this gray color, so it's a little bit muted. Let's do the body. The body's actually kind of a brown. Let's get a little bit of the burnt umber, I think. Add that. Yeah, it probably is a moth. I don't know if it's a moth. I would not be surprised, though. I think it's a butterfly. Get a little bit of black. It looks a little distorted just because I'm trying to get this wing to look like it's kind of closing up in flight a little bit. I don't know if I don't have a picture of it, so I'm probably not doing a great job, but again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to get the essence of it. This is an ode to butterflies. Do some of these sharper edges that come around here that almost looks like a leaf. The edges are kind of pointed out. Nice. I like it. I like the feeling of them just being a little bit less than flat, like this one is flat. I did one last year that I really liked at the time, but I noticed later that the butterflies looked a little static because they were all pretty much flat, you know, straight flat, and I didn't put them in flight and have them kind of in movement, and so they kind of all just look like they're pasted on to the canvas just a little bit. I still love it, but I think I'm gonna like this one a little bit better. The one we'll do later is going to be pasted on. They're going to be the meant to be like that. They're the collection, kind of butterfly collection style. All right, a little bit of Indian yellow with my unbleached titanium here. And there's a couple of dots here and here. Dark. And I think I'm pretty close to being happy with this one. Maybe do a little bit of highlight on the body and calling that good. And you can see it's not, if you look at it up close, it looks like a kindergartner did it, but if you kind of get the essence of it from far away. So as you're doing this, just step back often and look at it from a distance and see if it feels like a butterfly. And as long as it feels like a butterfly, then I think you're doing it right. Doesn't have to look like mine. I'm going to get a little bit of a dark color, sort of do some little dots in those areas there. Right, I'm not doing any of the antenna with this brush because it's way too big. So I'm gonna wait and do the antenna with my other brush. And I think I'm going to do this one sort of open. And I think, do we want to do a different color or keep it with this? I don't know. Let's do a monarch butterfly. Let's do a monarch, and let's do one that is kind of small. We'll keep it small. We'll do like this. I'm going to get a little bit more of this yellow. It's really more golden. They're kind of a golden yellow color. Not quite orange. Not quite yellow, sort of right in between. Similar to this color. I think that'll be a good one to do here. So we'll do that rounded bit, and then we'll do another little rounded. No, I'm going to do it this way. I'll do it open a little bit more. I think that'll be good. All right, get some of the black. These are fun to do because they've got lots and lots of dots. So it's pretty much black all the way around this orangey center. Black all the way around. Black body. And then get the white and get a little bit of the yellow so it's just not, you know, pure white, and then just dot like crazy all the way around. Dot, 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 and then there's a few dots in the wing here. I need a little bit more black. Right in here, there's kind of an area. Did I do that right on there? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I guess that's right. And it's not pure black here. You can see it's more like a gray. That gray keeps it kind of looking soft. All right, so there. I'm gonna get some white and a little bit of my yellow. And do some little dabs in there. Thank you. Yeah, that looks good enough. Okay. And then there's dots, I think, on the body too. Just a little bit. Okay, good enough. All right, this is the point where we just need to let it dry and wipe off our chalk marks. So I'm going to use the paper towel here and make sure that it's dry. This one's dry. I haven't used it, touched it in a while. This one's probably dry. Just a damp paper towel here. Just taking off the chalk. I'm going to be careful around this one because some of those bits in the middle are probably still a little bit wet. Okay, and then this one too. Just kind of be careful around the outside. Oops, I touched that one a little bit right there on the dots. Okay, I'll fix that. Okay. All right. It looks a little, I don't know, it looks a little skinny, but we're just going to say the wings are coming at us. So. going to go ahead and use my Prismacolor. See what I can get from this. If I like it, then I will keep using it. I might even use, I've got an indigo, blue indigo. I might use thinking of like an olive green. This one in my reference had a little bit of a greenish tint to some of the pieces, so maybe get a little bit of that olive. Let me see. Colored pencil. You can use a brush for this. This is Umber. The Crayon Dash are nice because they're a little bit more waxy, so they go on over acrylics a little bit easier. Sometimes colored pencils don't want to stick very well, so I do like them. The pastels are really nice too because they're chalky, so they go on nicely over the top of These are the Stabilo Carbothello pencils. I'm going to use the brown. I don't know what color this is, but I'm going to use a brown and do my antenna with a brown pencil there. And that's about all I'm going to do. You can see I'm just barely outlined, just a little bit. I might do a little, let's do a little bit with this and just sort of give it a little bit of a outline. Ooh, you can hear it kind of scritching against that canvas. But there we go. And that just gives a little bit of detail without having to do a ton of work. And this is a great little resource, you know, if you've got colored pencil laying around, grab them and try them and see what you think. Let me know in the comments if you like using them over your acrylics. If you use the Crayon Dash Neocolor 2 crayons, they are water soluble, so you will, just have to be careful. Maybe spray on your sealer and not brush it on, just in case you don't want it to lift. So this is a indigo blue here, and I like it. I'm going to use that on this one. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, that's going on nicely, and it is covering nicely. And like I said, I'm not gonna go too much in the lines. Like if I feel like this wing should have come out a little bit, so I'm just gonna use this pencil to sort of draw that in and maybe do some little details on here, like drawing some little things that I missed, or maybe give him some legs coming out here just a little bit. There we go. Really pretty. Do some lines if you want to in there, those lines that come through. There we go. I really like this pencil on there. Hi, Fitzy. What are you doing? You doing okay? You look kind of sad. I'm going to use the black Carbothello here. This is going to be even softer than the pencil, so I can use less pressure. So this is a good option if your paint is feeling a little bit like it's lifting off. Sometimes a Prismacolor, even though they're kind of a waxy base, sometimes they can be a little bit rough on the canvas, or can pull off color if you rub too hard or draw too hard with them. So using a pastel pencil is a good option because they're a little bit softer, easier to work with. Ooh, they are scritching. Scritchy scritch. And you don't see a ton of the, I don't know why I did that, because I don't really see the lines in this butterfly. It's kind of all kind of hidden in a way. Yeah, it's not wanting to draw over this part very much. It's still a little too damp. You'll find if your paint is still kind of curing, that the pencil doesn't want to, you know, adhere. So I was thinking that maybe even like a lighter color would be pretty. Or
Are those pencils that you were just using in your shops? Are the pencils that you were just using in your shops?
I think the Prismacolor, I know I have a mixed media one on Amazon. So if you go to my Amazon shop and look in the mixed media one, I'm pretty sure all of these are in there. Because I did that show last year, and I know I did a whole list of mixed media stuff that I was using, and I'm pretty sure they're in there. Okay, this is working really well. This is the Neo Color Light Lemon Yellow, or just a white or something. Working really well to do these little details in the wing here. Again, you can do this with paint too. So I could be using a smaller brush and doing this with paint. So you don't have to do this with pencil. I'm just saying these little tiny lines like that can be really difficult for a beginner to do with a brush. So using a pencil is a great option because you can get these finer lines. We're all kind of a little bit more used to using pencils, and it's just a little bit easier and less stressful for everybody involved. Okay, yeah, I'm really liking this one. This is working pretty well. I can use it in here. Maybe I didn't do any lines in my, I need to let that dry a little bit. Let's go ahead and work on this guy. And I like how that one's turned out though. It definitely feels kind of fresh. If we want to punch up the color a little bit, I can use like a vermilion or something like that, or even go back in with a little bit more of a bright red with my paint and add little bits. But there we go. So that kind of helped. And let's go ahead and use this somewhere else. I don't ever like to use like a color by itself and not use it again. So we'll use it a little bit on this guy. Maybe even a little bit in our Monarch.
That you're using right now.
And I can.
Things?
Yep. Yep.
So yes, the crayon thing that she's
Caran
using
d'Ache.
are in her Amazon shop in the mixed media.
In the mixed media folder. Okay.
Yep.
So here's water with it. So I just added it to that wing, and I want to kind of blend it in. I'm going to add water, and it'll just kind of blend it in a little bit. Now they stay, unlike if I was to use these ones, these Inktense, Derwent Inktense pencils, if I use that and add water to them, and then they dry, let me go ahead and use one down here. Whoops. I'm going to use the blue. I'm going to use a peacock blue or iris blue. I'm going to use a little bit of blue on here, and I'll show you. If you add it, it's not in this butterfly, but it's okay because it's a dark color. As long as the value is the same, you can use a color not black in there, and it actually adds a lot of interest to your dark areas to add another color that's not just black. But if I add water to this one, it won't reactivate it once it's dry. The Caran d'Ache will stay active no matter what. So you have to spray these with like a fixative or something to fix them to your canvas before you varnish it. But this one here, the Inktense pencils are nice because I can use them and then just let it dry, and then it's permanent after that. So it kind of dries like an ink almost.
Okay, and you're using the water soluble Caran d'Ache?
Yep. Yep.
And also, can you use like a fine tip Sharpie or something?
Yeah, Sharpie's not my first choice for this, just because they're permanent and they don't blend very well. So, and they're also not light fast. So most of these ones that I'm using are artist quality, so they're light fast. They're going to last for years. The Sharpies will fade in very short time. I used to use them in my kids' classes. I would not recommend doing that anymore. Like I wouldn't, because I didn't realize how fast I was like, oh, they're permanent, great, but they are really not light fast and they don't last very long, especially if your object is anywhere at all near the sun. So just keep that in mind. It's not a permanent, the Sharpie is not a permanent solution. All right, this has like a black line all the way down, so I'm just going to use my Phthalo pencil again. The thing with these, so the reason I'm using different ones, so when I want a fine line, I'm using my pencil. When I want a little thicker line or a little bit better coverage, I'm using the crayon. And that it speeds up things, So I use the crayon in these bigger dots, and then I'll use this pencil to do some of the finer details and maybe some of these lines that I want to come through, and just like a few little referential lines too. Sketchy lines, Nothing. Again, trying to keep it pretty light. This line comes all the way down. Didn't notice that before. This one comes almost all the way down. But I really like this style. Let me know in the comments if you like this style and you want to see more of this style of painting. I don't do a lot. I used to do a lot of it with my kids' classes because it was very easy to. It's just a nice, like, easy way to introduce kids and adults to art. Easy, very accessible. I'm going to go ahead and give this guy some lines here coming out. Accessible, and you get really good results with it. That's the thing I like, So if you're learning to paint, it can be kind of frustrating because at first you're just not going to get very good results sometimes, and you just feel like you're spinning your wheels and not coming out with paintings that you're really excited about, showing anybody, until you get, a few down and you get a little more confident, a little bit more skill under your belt. And that's totally normal. I mean, that's like, if I was to learn to play piano or whatever, I'm not going to be going out and like doing a recital the next day. It takes a while to get good at any kind of new skill. So it takes a while to get good at painting. But if you want to just jump right in and kind of have a painting that you want to hang out on your wall, this kind of thing where you're doing mixed media and you're taking some shortcuts, not shortcuts, but, not having to use a brush for everything, is a great way of just, getting your feet wet and expressing yourself. I mean, that's what art's all about anyways. And then you can learn, to do all the techniques and learn to use a brush and liner brush. And I've got all those kind of tutorials out there, but this is a great way to just, jump in there and get something fun done. Try something new and try. Don't have to be perfect at it to paint a little, draw a little, do a couple little antennae here for, sometimes the antenna curve forward when they're flying, which is kind of fun. This is the monarchs. It's got a lot of lines through the body, so I'm going to, or the wings, I mean, so I'm going to try to add some of those so it looks a little bit more like a monarch. And darken up around the outside of it. Okay. Pretty happy with that. I might add a few darker little marks on this one, even though I said I was going to leave it alone. Let's zoom out and see what we have here and see what we like. If we want to change anything. And we've got other, colors. We can use our light colors. Like if I want to go through here and add a few little bright pops of color. Highlight some of these panes. And I think I'm pretty happy with it for the most part. And I think I want to splatter just to give it a little bit more oomph. I'm going to separate out. I keep my pastel pencils and my Prismacolors separate just so that I don't accidentally, they have a different feel. They do different things on the canvas. You can use a regular graphite pencil for this too. You know, like a graphite pencil will be a little bit more like gray, but it would work too. So that's another option.
For me, the biggest lesson here is you use what you have available to you.
Absolutely, yes.
You don't have to go out and spend $600 on supplies.
Don't. Use what you've got available.
Just regular colored pencils. If you have them, try it.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong.
Even pen. These are one of my favorite pens, the Uniball, Uni brand, because they make their pens waterproof. They're light fast, and so they have all kinds of different ones. Vision Elite, and they're also the ones that make the Uni Posca pens. So that brand is really great, and I'm not going to use it on here because I feel like it would be a little too much for this one, but if you want to use it on yours, they come in all kinds of different colors, and they're acrylic. So basically you're just drawing with acrylics. So really, really great, really easy to use. All right, I'm just putting back away my stuff so that they're out of the way. I'm gonna splatter, I think, with this. And you know what? I don't think I'm gonna use my watercolor one. I have a liquid watercolor there, but I think I'm gonna use my gold. I might use the iridescent gold. I know I have it in a. Oh, let me see. Yeah, there it is. I have it in a. There we go. In a fluid. The fluid will just give us a head start on the that would be a fun, wouldn't it? Luminous lemon. Would that be weird? I don't know.
It's your painting.
I think I'm going to try it. And I might do the gold too. Ooh, look at that. That's bright. That's a fluorescent color. Or just yellow, whatever, light, white, whatever. I'm going to get a fan brush. You can use a toothbrush too. The thing with splattering, some people have trouble with it if their paint's too thick, so just make sure your paint is nice and thin. Use a stiff bristled brush or stiff toothbrush, and remember that whatever direction that you are hitting. So if I'm holding my fan brush up like this and I'm hitting it like this, I'm applying force this way. So my paint is going to go that way. It's not going to go on my canvas. It's going to go all over my monitor. So I need to turn my brush so that it is kind of parallel to the canvas and be hitting it so that the force is going down towards my canvas, and hold it about, I don't know, 6 inches, 8 inches away from the canvas, maybe a hand width or so away from the canvas at all times, and just kind of do like this and keep moving it around and make sure that I've got my paint nice and luminous, or like nice and thinned out. I think this is going to be too bright, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm going to really thin it out and get maybe a little bit of the glazing liquid. Now this color is not light fast, so this will dull after a few years, but it's fun for right now. No, it's actually pretty cool. I like it. Yeah, that's fun. It feels like a little pop of brightness there. Really nice. Okay, let me use a little bit of the gold too. I think I'm feeling the gold.
Do it.
If you want big splatters, you probably need to use a bigger brush. So it'll be kind of there's a splattering tool. I don't think I have one handy, but they're like kind of rubber silicone. Liquitex makes them. I think the Art Sherpa had one too. I don't know if I have one of hers, or if they still make them. But there we go. There's some gold. Fun. You can put them on if you want them on your butterfly. Do it on the butterflies. You can do it around them and not on them. Whatever you want to do. That's nice. So it has a little bit of that lime yellow. What color is that? Let me let you know in case you want to buy it. This is a Holbein acrylic set that, oh, I'm doing bad with names today. I'm so sorry. Somebody sent me, if it's you, just shout out in chat. But anyhow, it has a whole set of these
So what color is it?
fluorescent colors. This one is Luminous Lemon
Okay.
by the Holbein brand, and they have fluorescent chartreuse in golden that is very similar. So that one would be the golden version, and they now have these in tubes instead of the big tubs. Used to be you could only get them in the big tubs, and so that's what I have. But I much prefer the tubes. They're easier to get in out. All right.
And somebody would like to know, can you varnish over all the colored pencils and crayons and stuff
Yes.
you're using?
What I would do is use acrylic clear coat. And that will, you could even use a, if you have it, use a, okay, matte fixative. A crystal clear coat is acrylic. Now the acrylic clear coat might, if you put it on too thick, it might activate that water neo colors if you're using the water-based neo color 2s. So just kind of watch for that and see, and spray it very, very lightly at first. Just get it, like, just kind of coat it, and then you can go back in with something like a varnish, Kamar varnish or something like that to seal it fully. But the matte fixative or the acrylic crystal clear coat, those will both do really well to seal your canvas. And then you can do a brush on canvas or brush on varnish even over the top of this if you wanted to. It just basically seals it so that you can't, the watercolor pencils don't reactivate or whatever. So all right.
So you have to do the coating then varnish, or just the coating?
Do the coating, then varnish.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. The coating is not necessarily a protective layer. It does protect, but it's not. I used to, honestly, I mean, that one that's sitting out in the living room from 20 years ago is used with this. So this stuff does fine. It can be a little bit sticky, so you can end up with problems with dust kind of adhering to it and things like that. And the thing with the varnish is this can be taken off. So an isolation coat, that's what this is basically, that protects the paint and makes it stick to the canvas. This will not wash off. This is not removable. Once it's on, it's stuck to the canvas forever. A varnish is technically removable, so it can be taken off with solvents and cleaned. So, if your painting is in an environment with a lot of dust or smoke or things like that, and it gets damaged and that seeps into the varnish layer, that can be removed and it can be revarnished. And the clear coat protects, the isolation coat protects your paint so that it doesn't get removed with the varnish when the varnish gets removed, if it ever does. And if we're not putting these in museums, guys, let's be real. So you're probably never going to need to do that, but you never know. So, that's basically the, technical way, the best practice.
200 years from now, the Louvre is going to be cursing you.
I know.
When they're trying to clean your paintings. You're like, what did you use on this? This is just insane.
Yeah, right. And I'm going to add, this is totally optional, I'm going to add some gestural marks to my background here. So just like and I'm going to use the color similar to the background, but just just felt like it needed a little bit of something else. Just some little, this is, I don't know if it's adding anything or not. Maybe not. I don't know. If we hate it, we can wipe it off. Soften it off. Our paints are dry now, you know, so we can kind of play, see. I'm going to just soften those off because they were kind of a little bit too dark, I think. But you get the idea. Maybe thinking about the direction that the butterfly wings are going. Maybe there's disturbance in the force here. I don't know. I'm going to call that good because I don't want to keep messing with it and fiddling with it. But you can see there's endless opportunities for all kinds of fun things. We could go back in and add more of the dots now that we've got, you know, other things on here. You can use your lines. You could do little, you know, squiggly lines through it. What I would suggest if you're going to try something like a little bit weird or, you know, maybe go out on a limb, take a photograph of it and play with it on your phone. Take an app, you know, get an app and just draw with your finger or draw with, if you've got a stylus or like I have in my phone, you know, that pops out and you can draw with it on your tablet or whatever. Add other colors, move your butterflies around. Do whatever you want to kind of, you know, make it unique and your own. One thing that he did in his painting that I didn't do here, and I might just do just a little bit, is he had these like little areas where it was like a suggestion of a butterfly was over here, you know, and he just did these little things that were like in the shape of a butterfly, but nothing was resolved. So it was like a ghost of a butterfly, you know, or a flower or whatever, you know. So that's another option that you can do. I don't like those colors that he chose, but I like that idea too, you know. So you could do that if you wanted to add a couple of those in your canvas in different places and make it look, you know, like there's another butterfly out here that's maybe there, you know, maybe one of these is another butterfly, but it's so far away we're just seeing the blendy bits of it and nothing else, you know, kind of thing. So that makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. We're gonna leave it there. I'm gonna sign it and we got a super chat. What?
Super chat.
Hey.
Yeah, we had a super chat
Awesome.
tonight from Phyllis. She says, love all the tips.
Oh, thank you, Phyllis. I'm so glad you liked it.
Yeah. And then we have another question concerning how to fix a varnishing gone bad.
Okay.
Maybe you can help.
Oh, a varnishing gone bad. All right.
Yeah, they said that they had a painting and they used a satin varnish.
Yep.
And it left streaks on the painting. Can they fix it?
Did it lift the color or?
Let me
I'm gonna use this white in
use my
places on my painting.
mental telepathy and see if I can conjure up.
Well, they didn't say obviously, but
No. And what did you sign the painting with?
this is the PBO acrylic marker. I also have a white one in the Uni Posca that I like using too.
They said it did lift some color.
Okay, so that's interesting. I wonder. I've had that happen a couple of times, and it's usually when I'm using a pen like this or something like that it just didn't adhere. So the paint, it sounds like your paint didn't adhere very well to your canvas in those places where it lifted. There's not a whole lot you can do about the paint. Obviously, you can't get it back once it's gone. But read the original question again.
They used a satin varnish.
Satin varnish.
And it left streaks on the painting.
Oh, okay. So probably like black, and it had like left streaks in the white areas and stuff. You're probably gonna have to paint over those areas.
Oh.
Yeah, you'll have to paint that out. But you can paint. The nice thing is you can paint over varnish, so you can paint over that. Yeah, if it left like big streaks or something, like if I, had a black thing here and I varnished it and left a streak. Yeah, it's there. It's pretty much stuck on the canvas now, so there's not a whole lot you can do to get that off, except for paint over it. So I would probably just have to paint over it. I'm sorry, I hate that.
Or you can send it to us, send it to me, and I'll sell it. No.
Oh, another one.
This just in.
What?
Another super chat. This one
sweet.
from Celtic Peasant, one of our unusual suspects.
I like it.
Says, thank you so much. I wish I could buy everyone a coffee.
Oh, thank you. Very
They'd
sweet.
like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony and buy them a coffee.
I'm going to try for some bigger. I've moved to a bigger brush here, and I'm trying for some bigger splatters now. I am going to make sure my paint is wet and scoop it up. So I have a pretty good amount of paint on here. Oh, there we go. Nice.
I like big splatters, and I cannot lie.
I do too. Okay, there we go. Just felt like it needed something up here just to kind of move the eye around. There was just kind of a lot of nothing happening back here, so okay, there we go. I'm for real done now. I like it.
Don't fall for it.
No, for real. I'm for real done. I like that.
Oh, just in
helped.
time because
That
I got to
helped.
get to Canada right now, or to Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia's calling.
We'll meet you at Oak Island, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Leave a thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave a comment, share it with a friend, and come back for more. We'll be back next week, and yeah, hope to see you there. We're going to be, I don't even know what we're painting next week, but it'll be fun. Oh yeah, birds. We're painting birds. So lots of flying things this month. A lot of birds and butterflies. All right, we'll see you there. Bye.